Hello everyone, this is the fifth tutorial video for class 12 history students. We are going to finish the chapter The Indus Valley Civilization in this video. As we have seen, it is not the Harappan script which helps us understanding the history of the Indus Valley Civilization. Rather, it is the artifacts which have been found in those sites of the Indus Valley. This material, these artifacts, these could be pottery, these could be tools, this could be ornaments, household objects, anything. Organic materials like cloth, leather, wood and reed, they generally decompose because they are organic materials. What survive are stones, clay, burnt clay which is called terracotta, metal. These survive the harsh temperatures and years of being buried underneath. Recovering artifacts is just the beginning of archaeological enterprise. Archaeologists then classify their findings. One simple principle of classification is in terms of material like stone, clay, bone, ivory, metal, etc. And the second method, it's a more complicated method in terms of function. Archaeologists have to decide whether, for example, an artifact is a tool or an ornament, or both, or something meant for ritual use. So this is a much more complicated method of classification. The problem of archaeological interpretation are perhaps most evident in attempt to reconstruct the religious practices of the Indus Valley civilization. Early archaeologists thought that certain objects which seem unusual or unfamiliar may have had a religious significance. This included the terracotta female figurines of women, heavily jeweled, some with elaborate headdresses, headgears. These were regarded as mother goddesses. Rare stone statuary of men in an almost standardized posture, seated with one hand on the knee, such as the priest king, was also similarly classified as a religious preacher of some kind. In other instances, structures have been assigned ritual significance. These include the Great Bath and the fire altars, fire pits found in Kalibangan and Lothal. These also have been classified as having religious significance. Attempts have also been made to reconstruct religious beliefs and practices by examining seals, some of which seem to depict ritual scenes. Others, like with plant motifs, other seals had plant motifs. They are thought to indicate nature worship. Some animals, like the one-horned animal which is called the unicorn, they were depicted on seals, seem to be mythical, composite creatures. And in some seals, a figure is shown seated in a cross-legged position like a yogi, sometimes surrounded by animals. This person has been regarded as a depiction of Proto-Shiva. What is Proto-Shiva? An early form of one of the major gods in Hinduism, that is Shiva, one of the early forms of Shiva, Proto-Shiva. Besides, conical structures have been classified as Shiva Lingas. Let us look at this Proto-Shiva seal. The earliest religious text, the earliest Hindu religious text, that is the Rig Veda, mentions a god named Rudra. Now, we know that Rudra is a name used for Shiva in the later Vedic period. However, unlike Shiva, Rudra in the Rig Veda is neither depicted as Pashupati nor as a yogi, because Pashupati means the herder of animals, the caretaker of animals. In other words, this depiction does not match the Rudra in Rig Veda. This depiction of the yogi, the Proto-Shiva we are talking about, the depiction of Proto-Shiva as a Pashupati does not match the depiction of Rudra in the Rig Veda. Is this then possibly a shaman, possibly just another religious man? Maybe, may have been, we are not sure. What has been achieved after so many decades of archaeological work? We have a fairly good idea of the Harappan economy, number one. Number two, we have been able to tease out social differences, and we have some idea, number 3, of how the civilization functioned. It is really not clear how much more we could have known if the script was deciphered. But there are also some unanswered questions, like, was the Great Bath really a ritual structure? How widespread was literacy? Why do Harappan cemeteries, why do Harappan burials show little social difference? Also, unanswered questions are about gender. Did women make pottery, or did they only paint pots? What about other craftsperson? What were the terracotta female figurines used for? Very few scholars have investigated the issue of gender in context of Harappan civilization, and this is totally a whole new work for future times. So, we have finished the first chapter of your syllabus, the Indus Valley Civilization. We will meet again in the next video with a new chapter. Till then, bye.